Hey YouTube, it's Craxy. Welcome back to the channel. Hero Siege Season 8 begins on September 12th, and with it, I'll be going through all of my Season 7 build guides to update them to the new season. In this video, we're going to be talking about the starter and progression build guide for Physical, Caustic, Spearhead, Amazon. We'll cover everything that you need to know to league start this character, as well as get it into the early game so you can start farming, and then touch on some progression tips to get the character into mid-game and ultimately in the end game. Be sure you hit that subscribe button, keep up to date with all my future Hero Siege related news, content, and build guides, and let's get started. First things first, a disclaimer, this was made during the closed beta phase of Season 8 with the content and mechanics that were available at the time. We do not have item spawners available in the beta, so this is going to be based off of just build trends and theory crafting from the in-game journal. All right, showcase the build. If you've never seen Caustic Spearhead before, you shoot out some arrows. They split into multiple different directions, right? It's kind of crazy. I'll go into a map real quick. That way you can kind of get an idea of what this would look like. You do have a teleport skill, right? That scales off of your attack speed, not cast speed. So you just hit enemies, it blasts everything everywhere. Range DPS, quite safe, right? In the past, this skill, I ain't alive, this skill has had some lag troubles. So overall, I feel like it's gotten way better. But just a quick side note, that could still be a thing. I'm going to make the build guide for it anyway. If it ends up being, something that's not playable late into the game, then that is what it is. But I'm gonna go into it with the idea that things are working, right? And so far, like, I'm not having any issues here. So cool. Next, we will go through some changes from Season 7 to 8. What's different about the build? First thing, the life and mana on kill passive has been nerfed by 1 point. There's this one right here. You're not going to really notice it. The only time you really use it anyways in the early game. Once you get leech, it's whatever. You won't even notice. And then your weapon physical enhanced damage on rare and higher quality weapons has been increased. So your D tier through S tier enhanced damage, you're going to get more of it, which ultimately means more attack damage, which ultimately means more damage for your character. So while you're leveling, you're really going to notice this. You're going to make sure you're going to be looking for rare and mythic weapons while you're leveling up. It'll make quite a big difference in your overall damage as you get through the game. And early on, whenever you're trying to find a weapon in early hell, this will make a big difference as well. So ultimately, I think for Caustic Spearhead, with the difficulty changing, it's going to be a little less potent at the beginning. It's going to feel a little weaker, but the chance for you to scale this damage up, it's crazy with some of these new items, how much damage you can get on bows now. Obviously, we'll have more of that stuff in with the progression gearing. Definitely take a look at that. It's crazy what you can get on bows now. So pros and cons of the build. You have built-in movement speed and dodge chance passives. Really good single target with consistent clear speed, built-in life and mana passives, ability to sustain yourself through leech mechanics, and you have a built-in traversal skill. However, it can be kind of glass cannony. You can be a little bit squishy on this character, and you're generally going to be using a two-hander, so it's going to be harder to cap your resistances because you don't have a shield. A lot of shield builds, honestly, are way easier to cap resistances. So something to keep in mind. You're also going to be swapping for your clear skill versus your single target skill, right? You're going to be using some different stuff there, which isn't a big deal now because they've actually added the ability to hit a hotkey on your keyboard to switch to a different skill tree. So honestly, it isn't even really a con anymore. You press one button and you're on your single target. You press one button, you're on your AoE farming. So not a huge deal. Now for leveling, we are going to be using the Valkyrie side of the tree. It's the right side of the tree. This is mainly because you get a little bit more damage out of this early on. You can go with the physical side, especially with the weapon increases, so getting better weapons earlier on. The physical Spearhead's probably not that bad for leveling anymore. It was terrible before, and the poison damage you can't scale poison damage at all in the beginning of the game. So the whole poison side didn't even work. And since the attack damage on weapons was so low, it just sucked to level, right? So you might be able to get away with it now. I still prefer going with the lightning side of it. It's just you get a lot of upfront damage from lightning. Lightning skill damage scales, and you can get leech from a Strobe's gift, and it's like a physical lightning skill. So just makes sense for me. I do have skill trees available for everything. all the way up to, this one needs fixed, all the way up to level 100, right? So that you can see exactly what you need to do in order to level the character. And then, of course, at level 100, you have your Caustic Spearhead skill tree, the Thunder Fury skill tree. This is what we use to level with. You can continue on with Thunder Fury for a bit of time if you would like to before you make that switch into Spearhead, as generally you kind of want a little bit of crit and crit damage to move into a physical skill. And then the single target that you'll use for that skill. For sub-skill trees, if you're not familiar with them, you get these starting at level 5. These are in the top right of each skill. You can click on them, and you can see it opens up this sub-skill tree. Like I said, every 5 character levels, you will get 1 point up to a maximum of 20 points. So in here in the build guide, you'll see that we have all of the trees, and I show you exactly how to set up your points for each of your skills. For attributes, we have 2 points intelligence, 2 points vitality. That's what I prefer you go whenever you're the lightning's on. So if you're going to stay lightning's on all the way through leveling to level 100, you'll do 2 points int, 2 points vitality, get enough energy to feel comfortable. Fortunately, with physical damage, you will have leech, right? So you won't have to worry about mana nearly as much. Once you switch into Caustic Spearhead, whether that's level 40, 70, 100, whatever it may be, you're going to switch into 2 points strength, 2 points vitality. This gives you attack damage for strength, and then life, obviously, on the vitality side of it. You can put some points into dexterity if you're having trouble with hitting. That's another big thing that you're going to have to try and solve. So one way you can do that is just putting points in dexterity to get attack rating until you can get enough ignore target defense. Otherwise, once you get to the end game, you're going to be putting all of your points into strength to get the most amount of damage. For gearing, we have multiple sections here, the 1 through 100, the progression gear, everything that you'll need in terms of gearing, but it's really just designed to give you workable suggestions at any stage. So 1 through 100, this is pre-physical. This is what I recommend that you go and try and look for before you swap into Caustic Spearhead. So this just shows you the different affixes that you're going to be looking for on normal through mythic items. So things like, all skills, lightning skill damage, percent damage, magic skill damage, attack speed, the general things that you're probably going to want to put on items, right? As well as I do have some different rune words in here as well to show you, different things that you might want to make while you're leveling up. Definitely not required to make any rune words, but if you happen to find, if you happen to find a Hellfell and want to make a fog, it gives you up to 40 resistances. That's super easy to make, only a 2-socket armor. So things like that. I am also currently going through all of the new and reworked items for the season. We're going to be putting some leveling satanics in here. I don't recommend that you stop to farm for any specific satanic. I also do not recommend that you don't need to spend money on leveling satanics. You can level any character without needing to buy anything. However, if you find these, they can be very, very nice for the build. So I will have a section for leveling satanics. We're in the process of working on that on stream. Once you hit a level 100 and you've decided to swap into the physical character, I do have recommendations for gearing. There's no best in slot gear here. A lot of the stuff in here you could swap in and out and do different things with, and they would all work, right? So it's just kind of whatever you're able to afford, whatever you're able to find if you're in SSF or whatever. So definitely give that a look-sees on what you specifically might want to look for or find. There's a lot of different options in here based on what you do end up picking up. For offhands, in some situations, maybe you decide to pick up a gun and you're running like a one-handed gun. You could do that with an offhand. Completely up to you. You kind of want to get the most attack damage here that you can. So, up to you. For progression gear, in this section, we talk about a lot of the different items that are available to progress with. In Season 8, the difficulty scaling has changed quite a bit. The game is much harder. You're not going to be able to, cheese it by getting an early Inferno item or something, because there's going to be very few people that are able to even farm in Inferno for the first few days. So I've changed all of the Inferno items. They're in their own section at the bottom here, the progression. All progression gear will be things that you can get between Hell 1 and Hell 5. Now, there are shadow items. These items are going to give you a ton of damage, but they remove your ability to crit. So this is a really good way to get a ton of upfront damage through enhanced damage scaling without needing crit. So you'll put enhanced damage on things like your amulet, and you can get it on your chest with rune words. You can get rings, you can get gloves, you can get charms, and really stack your enhanced damage so that you can get the most out of the shadow weapon. I will also mention though that shadow weapons, they come from Uber Reaper. Uber Reaper isn't really harder, right? He does have some changes to some of his skills. He just is going to take way longer to kill because he has a lot more life. He has a lot more life now, boys. So just a heads up. This is a great option, but it'll be harder to farm it. It's going to be something you're going to have to gear up for. Otherwise, once again, there are a ton of other options in terms of items and things you can try to go for. The target farming in the game has changed substantially. Now, whenever you drop an SS tier item, or an SS tier item is going to drop, you have a 40% of the rolls that go towards that SS item, or there's 40% of the rolls that you get will go towards that chase unique. So for example, if you're in, I don't know, King's Garden, you're looking for a Lucy Day or something, right? And you get 10 rolls on the SS that drops. 4 of those rolls are going to be specifically for Lucy's. Doesn't mean that the other rolls also won't try to hit Lucy. It just means that you're guaranteed 4 of those rolls. It makes target farming actually a thing in the game now, versus being kind of a meme before. So this will really help you whenever you're trying to grind out for an item, whether you're in SSF or even if you're in trade and you just are, it's a really expensive item. You're just like, yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna go farm it out myself. You actually have a chance of doing that versus, praying against the entire global pool drops, right? For relics, they haven't really changed too much. You do get 5 relics now, but you have to complete the Fall of Darkness, which is killing Uber Amun-Ra and Uber Gabriel. They're both harder bosses. They have more life now. But you will get a 5th relic slot. Until then, you have your typical crit relics. There's also, there's some life ones. There's some additional proc effect stuff. There's also... you can get agility, you can get live by the sword, you can get demon form on relics now, which is really cool. There's some new items in the game that could potentially make some crazy interactions with relics. We're not going to be discussing all that stuff in here. I think that's really for the community to toy with and figure out. Really, even in the beta, a lot of us haven't really had a chance to really take these to the next level, as getting the item is quite difficult, and then you have to constantly be changing your relic, and there's not a way to hold on to relics, and there's not a way for us to get relics, so it's a bit of a pain. So during the open beta that happens on September 5th, this is something that I'm going to be trying to work with my community, and seeing if we can get relics together and having people trying different things and see what we can do with relics. I'm really interested in relic builds and just different things that you can do with relic effectiveness. But until then, these are going to work just fine for you, right? To get as much damage out of them as you can. Potions haven't really changed at all. It's the same potions we're used to. Any of these together will be just fine. Now, if you're using Molten Paw, right? Molten Paw is a way that we can get burning on our attacks. This will allow us to stack things like extra damage to burning enemies. So you can use potions like the caffeinated coffin container, for example. For chest augments, not much has changed here. Same ones. Berserker Rage is going to be the most damage. Lethal Tempo is going to give you upfront attack damage, or excuse me, upfront attack speed with critical strike damage. This is generally the one I go for, just because I love attack speed. I like having that upfront, so that's usually what I try to pull. That's what I recommend that you pull. For mercs, they did get quite a change in Season 8. Read through all of this information here. There's a lot going on with mercs. A ton of different choices that you can make. I went ahead and just showed all of them, so you can kind of decide based on what the mercs have and try and play with some different things and toy with what you can here. So again, I have all 3 of them listed here. Most likely, you're probably going to run either the Archer merc with Fanaticism, or the Knight merc also with Fanaticism. Let them use it as a tank. However, mercs are still very much going to be Magic Find mercs, right? Because now we have boots, belts, and gloves that you can put on a merc. It just gives them way more options for not only survivability, but honestly more Magic Find, right? There's some different things that I'm sure people will come up with in terms of using them for utility or damage, whatever it may be. But me personally, I'm going to stack as much Magic Find as I can on this sucker. I think majority of the community will, because it'll really help with you progressing through the early stages of the game, because again, it is harder. You need to get more juice now, and stacking a shitload of magic on your merc early on is just going to help you propel into the harder difficulties. So all that information and gearing options and all that stuff is available in the guide. For hero levels, pretty much nothing changed with hero levels. There's a couple of nodes that got moved around a little bit or buffed, but nothing too crazy. If you don't know how hero levels work, I do have a video in the written guide that you can check out that'll give you tons of information on how it works, as well as some different strategies to certain builds, and maybe what you might want to do with your hero level tree. But generally speaking, they're all basically the same. For glyphs, nothing changed too much with glyphs. Mainly because they're removing these. The hero levels and glyphs are going away in season 9. So once again, if you're not familiar with glyphs, I have a whole video talks about how to get them, what they do. They're very important for farming, so don't if you don't know about them, definitely go learn about glyphs. But yeah, for loot filters, I will have loot filters available for the build. This will be starter filters, nightmare filters, hell filters, endgame filters. I have all of it done. I'm just currently trying to work on the website stuff to get everything available for everybody to just go there and get what they need. But I will have that information in here. Now, you're not going to be able to import these. You're going to have to build them yourself before the season starts. I would recommend that you at least hop into the beta that starts on the 5th. Make this filter, save it to your profile, and then whenever the season starts, hopefully you'll just be able to load up your filters and go. You won't have to do anything. I don't know. I know that anytime I've ever tried to make a filter in the beta to be used in the new season, they never work. So that's why my only option is I've built I've built filters for everybody to show you exactly what to do, what to click, but that's the best I can do for you. In the future, hopefully the system gets better. It's something that I've talked about, something that I've expressed. Like, we need to be able to create situations and like links for people to put filters in, and they actually work, right? They're getting way too complicated now. Beyond that, there is a helpful resources tab. This will give you information on, the Hero Siege helper, the official Hero Siege wiki, progression tips, mining guide, whatever you want to know. I have a ton of information there. If you're a bit newer, just need a refresher, so definitely check that out. And that's going to wrap up this starter / progression guide for the Amazon. Definitely come check me out live at twitch.tv/guy_TV. We're continuing to work on these build guides. We have open beta starting on September 5th, and we're blasting that, checking out all sorts of different stuff. So I'd love to see you guys there. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.